All right, so I think the string thing involved is now ready to go, though. So hello, everybody. Megan ZardX here. Back at it again to give you another very exciting podcast episode with my episode 118, if I got that number correct. And it's a good thing I hear myself on loop a little bit, though, because technical difficulties, though. But, man, I know we're supposed to have this episode last weekend, but with the Super Bowl and stuff, it's just a little sports game that they happen to have every year and stuff like that. Big pop cultural phenomenal event. I was at a party. I don't know what Steven was up to though, but there was no way I was gonna be able to host that podcast. So we kicked the can down the road just by a little bit though. And lo and behold, since the last episode that was 3 weeks ago, we had a Tomadachi Live Nintendo Direct, a dedicated one. We had a Nintendo Partner showcase Direct, and we had a State of Play on top of gaming news, along with a couple of gaming releases with Dragon Quest VII Reimagining, along with Mario Tennis Fever. There's a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to keep the show on and going and popping, though. And we'll probably could talk a whole bunch more about some of these topics, though. But we'll try to give our 2 cents, at least with every category that I got on the list of show notes tonight. So those are the major highlights. I got some other stuff sprinkled in between, though. So we might as well go ahead and get this thing going, though. But, Steven, how's it going, man?
It is going good, but yeah, on Super Bowl day, I really was not doing much. I gotta be honest. I was just kind of hanging out, playing something, probably Mario 64. Been doing that a lot.
You've been playing that a little too much, though. But I guess that's your fancy, I guess, at least for the time being.
Hey, the new 3D Mario's coming soon. I gotta train.
All right, I hear you. All right, well, we're going to keep the show on and going. We got all of the introductions out of the way. So let's go ahead and jump straight up into that first topic, that being that pop culture segment. Alrighty, Steven. So typically with the Super Bowl and stuff, we usually get some crazy stuff. Obviously, you got the games, you got the food, you got the party and stuff and like that. Obviously, you got the commercials and stuff. For better or for worse, some could be funny, some could be not. Honestly, this year the commercials weren't too crazy. There's 2 highlights that we'll say that actually ties in with gaming and stuff like that. The game itself was pretty mid. It was a defensive battle and stuff like that. Halftime show. Did you even see any highlights from the halftime show, or did you even see a clip of it at all whatsoever?
I just heard that people some people got mad about it.
The people that got mad about it ain't got no, I guess, international taste. Like they don't listen to anything outside of just English related stuff. Because the performer for this one, it wasn't like your traditional like a Beyonce, or ain't no Bruno Mars like what we had in some past halftime shows. It was a dude from Puerto Rico, and obviously everything he was singing and stuff like that, it wasn't English or whatever though. But I mean, it wasn't necessarily anything I was super crazy about though. But I did like the diversity and the different impacts and stuff. And funnily enough, I think during that halftime show, there was a couple that was getting married, and I thought it was just for play, for show. It was actually legit, and I had to look up the story behind that. I was like, what the heck? But
Cool.
Congrats to them being wed like that, halftime show and everything though, being on the major stage. Hopefully they have successful marriage and whatnot though. But in terms of the personal highlights that we'll pull out in terms of gaming related stuff that happened during the Super Bowl, sometimes you might get a Nintendo ad up in there though, and technically I guess we kind of got 2 in a weird way. We did manage to get another sneak peek teaser trailer for the Mario movie, because I had a feeling it was going to show up. It did. And it showed baby Mario, baby Luigi, and showed a little bit more Yoshi in action, though. It wasn't super long. I think it was less than 30 seconds, because 30 seconds in a Super Bowl commercial ad, it's millions of words of dollars and whatnot, though. But, Steven, did you see that one little clip?
I did see the little clip. It was cute, obviously.
And I don't think it really kind of showed too much more outside of, I guess we'll just get to see the baby variants and whatnot though. But it kind of showed Yoshi in action and stuff though. So it's just kind of nice, just a casual reminder that the movie's gonna be out in what, Steven, a month and a half from now, almost 6
month
weeks
and a
from
half, yeah.
about 6 weeks from now though. So man, that thing's right around the corner. And I can't tell you
think
the last
April
time I've been
1st.
to a movie theater, to be honest.
Yeah, I think April 1st, which is funny to me.
Dang. So I mean, yeah, you get to the tail end of March, and then it's just gonna be right there, though. You watching this movie on day one, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
obviously.
It's weird because the way how they
Well,
do these theatrical releases, because I guess technically that's Thursday. So I don't know. If I'm off Thursday, I'll watch it Thursday. If not, it'll probably be Friday or Saturday at the latest is my window frame.
I'll see, because if I can see it with my family, maybe I'll wait a day or two.
Mm. Yeah, it just kind of depends on that. I might watch it with maybe my brother, maybe my cousin. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, right around the corner, they're starting to throw ads everywhere. Did you even see that Yoshi egg thing that they dropped on Twitter? I haven't run across it. I
With
don't
the
even know.
toy?
Yeah, the toy thing. I looked at that thing. I was like,
Yeah, it
huh.
looks kind of cute. It looks like something you'd see back in the day with like a Furby or like one of those trending toys. They go hatch your own pet, and like you hatch the Yoshi, and like it has like the stuff. Like I think the action figures are kind of neat. Like the Rosalina one looked kind of nice.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird because busting out of that egg and stuff. I was like, oh, I guess you don't get to keep. I mean, you can keep the egg for props, but it looks like it tears up. You can't put the egg back together. I was trying to put my mind around how that mess
Oh,
worked,
you
though.
can. I think you can put it back together.
I don't know if it's all
Maybe.
magnetic or whatnot. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Like they wouldn't give you a toy that just can't go back together.
Or it's just the eggshell itself, the toy itself, like Yoshi. No, that's put together, but it's obviously inside the thing. I don't know. I saw like one little video of it and how it like busts out the egg. It's kind of clever though, but I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure it's magnets.
Hmm. Hopefully, I don't know, because that'd be a good display prop. I don't know. I'm looking at it. It's like 50 something bucks or whatever though, so not too bad, but whatever. So yeah, so that was it in terms of the little teaser trailer that we got for the Mario movie right around the corner. So keep your eyes on that. Then also we have one other, I guess promotional trailer for the 30th anniversary for Pokemon. So I think this is like the first thing that kind of really got the ball going. And it was like all these different celebrities kind of talking about, what was their favorite Pokemon. Like you had one of them that one of their favorites was Jigglypuff or whatever though, and they went down the list. I'm ashamed none of them said Charizard, man. I mean, come on now, like that was just your little moment to shine right there with my boy over there though. But none of them chose that.
Garchomp.
Garchomp's cool. I'll give it. I'll give you Garchomp because the fact that it's a dragon. So I agree. I agree. But yeah, that was like their first little promotional thing, and then all of a sudden, then you get like some people talking about, you know, Pokemon. Because technically, by the time we have our next episode, we're gonna have our the Pokemon Day presentation and stuff will happen with that theme, Pokemon Presents. So it's just only a matter of time till we're starting to get hearing all of these different rumors and stuff. And funnily enough, Steven, I'm looking at my show notes. I don't even have like that leaked rumor thing. We'll squeeze it in some point later in the show about the whole fire red leaf green thing. Well, I'll squeeze it somewhere though. But point is, we got some good announcements along the way. Did you even see this little promotional teaser thing?
For the Pokemon thing?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But I got the gist. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably like pretty generic. Probably shows like 30 years of playing the games and cycles between all the generations.
Actually, no, it doesn't quite do that. That will probably be in the Pokemon Presents, but this one was just
Yeah.
it didn't. I didn't even know it was a Pokemon commercial until they started showing the Pokemon in the background. But it was just them talking about their favorites, what they liked about the series. But that's it. They didn't go through the generations, though. I kid you not, that's what's going to probably happen with the Pokemon Presents presentation. They'll do it exactly like how they did with the 25th.
They literally, yeah, no, they do it every time. When they revealed Sun and Moon, it was the exact same thing. 20th anniversary. Sun and Moon, going through all 6 generations, and then we're gonna show the 7th. And then Sword and Shield, I swear they did the exact same thing.
I think they
And
did it
then
on
Gen 9
every
also
big
did it.
5 anniversary one. Yeah, they've been doing that mess. But
It's like, yeah, it's like nostalgia is a really strong drug. Oh my god.
yeah. But I think outside of that, that's pretty much all we had in terms of just the pop culture segment stuff, though. Just kind of going through it real quick, though. So we're going to keep the show on and going. So next up on the segment of the show, we're going to be talking about what we've been playing. Dang dang, I got a trigger finger or something like that. Hit the completely wrong transition though. Anyway, though, stuff that we've been going through and playing. Obviously, there's two key highlights that we managed to go and get our hands on, or at least I got one, and then the other one is the one that we got both. But before we talk about those two games in particular, Steven, what all else have you been playing outside of the big major highlights?
I recently have been playing a lot of Mario 64. Been racing in Mario 64 with a good friend of ours, Kyle, and I've been having a lot of fun playing Mario 64, finding new stuff. Because, like, as I've been playing and optimizing it further and further, and I've finally had to start, like, using speedrun stuff and, like, learning some hard stuff. And I am having a good time just learning tricks I never knew. Like, Snowman's Land, you could like do a tricky wall jump, get on top of the snowman like immediately, like stuff like that. And like I've been having a fun time doing that, and I just barely finally beat him today because he's been beating me every time we race.
Man, those races have been nonstop. I'll be popping my head up in the Discord calls like, what are these dudes playing or sharing or watching today? Mario 64, Mario 64. Occasionally I get Graceful Odyssey, Mario 64. I was like, man, I love Mario 64. It's one of my top 10 games, but I was like, but the commitment y'all have to that game is
Yeah, I love it.
crazy.
Yeah, I just love Mario 64. What do you want me to tell you? And honestly, the last like 2 weeks, yeah, I haven't really been playing that much. I've been playing my occasional Fortnite, playing, playing. We played Mario Party, me, you, and Kyle once, and Nicole,
Mm-hmm.
and that was fun.
Okay.
But like I it's really kind of like that slow part of the year where there has been a lot of days where I just got home and like watched some videos on YouTube or did this, did that. And I've
Yeah, I
also
feel you.
been well, I guess in general I've been tinkering with the AYN Thor, which I think you're gonna get yours soon.
Hopefully I get my thing this week because I didn't even got this in the show notes, but I'll mention it here. No, because I ordered that AYN Thor, and then lo and behold, I said I want the shipping thing to be on it for DHL, the fastest thing. You got grace from the moment that you got that confirmation email, it showed up on your doorstep 3 days later. Before I could even get the confirmation that they shipped it, I heard stuff in the rumblings of the Discord, since that was the way how you were following and keeping up with your updates on that thing. So I started doing the same. Apparently, they had issues and stuff with the way how they were sending out their shipments and stuff, and they had to take back any other future orders that they would ship out through DHL and had to do it to the Yoon Express 4PX or whatever though. It's basically the slow route or whatever though. And now it's like, dang, even though I had my confirmation email last week, a perfect week ago, it was like last Sunday, the most it has done is it's been able to travel from the manufacturing place or wherever they've been making these things to where it got to an international airship or air an international airport, and that's where it's been at, and it's been stuck there ever since. And the way how that goes through and updates this mess, it's been a little bit here or there, but not too many updates and stuff. I checked it today, hasn't been updated, so fingers crossed it can actually get overseas, and maybe I'll be lucky to get it at the end of the week. We will see. We will see.
Yeah, I hope you get it soon. Either way, I love the thing. It's a really nicely made.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. At least in terms of the stuff I've been going through and playing, I just managed to wrap up I think a couple of games since the last time I talked about in the episode, or at least started a couple of games. I just finished up Path of Radiance on the Nintendo GameCube, since it's been added to the NSO service and stuff. I think we might have mentioned the past episode, something like that, it being brought over. But now I managed to go through and play through the whole thing, sink my teeth into the game for like 50 hours because of the fact that you got the save and restore points in this game. I don't have to go through the threat or the fear that I'm going to lose a character and they're just going to be gone from my party though. So yeah, so I managed to go through that game. A phenomenal game, a wonderful Fire Emblem experience. Got the year started off strong. Now I know, hey, by the time we get to Old Fortune's Weave, which will probably be in the middle of this year, though, that's going to be another great Fire Emblem game to look forward to. So I was like, hey, that was a good palate cleanser to come right off of Fire Emblem Engage. Not a big fan of that game, though, but I digress. good stuff right there in Path of Radiance. I can see why that's a personal favorite. Ike, we like Ike. There's a reason why they say that in Smash Brothers. So yeah.
I'm just glad that you didn't have to wait so long for it. Like we still don't even have Mario Sunshine yet. I thought they would take a while on that.
Yeah. I don't know when they're gonna put that one out because February I'm expecting Gale of Darkness Coliseum, or if not both. March at the earliest. Maybe they'll try to tie it around close to when the movie comes out, and then they'll give us Sunshine. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're waiting on. But yeah, outside of that, that's what I've been mostly playing. And then also, I finished Danganronpa 2, so I started up Danganronpa 3 right now. It's been a little slow out the gate, but I got through the first trial. Man, that was a crazy twist at the very beginning of the start, though. Like, oh, shoot. So, yeah, so I've been juggling that game a little bit. I can't really say too much on that, otherwise it kind of just go up in the straight spoiler territory, though. But, yeah, not as good as first and the second game out the start, though. But I heard from other people, like our good friend Yoshi, that was his favorite game in the series, though. So I have to still kind of wait to see how that pans out for me personally, though. But, yeah, so I've been playing a couple of those games. And for the most, that's been it outside of the key major highlights, though. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about the two most recent games that have came out on the docket. That being one of them being Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. This is the game I picked up. My other good buddy Sonic, you picked up, but not you, Steven. Do you have any aspirations to pick this game up, or is it going to fly under the radar for you?
Eventually, I'll pick it up. It's not really the type of game I'm like raring to play right away. I have to be in a certain mood to play an RPG.
Yeah, because I feel like you're more of a platformer kind of guy. Not that you won't play an RPG, but your preference is more so towards a platformer versus RPG.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at least I managed to pick up the game. Right before this podcast, I was playing it up to like the 9th hour, like 10 minutes before the show started. I was like, all right, now I got to get to my save point and stuff because you can't just save anywhere on the map. You got to, go to like your little temple church and or your priest or whatever, though, and then that's how you have to save. So there's certain spots in the game where you're only able to do that mess. Take save points for granted nowadays, though, when they let you do it basically anywhere, though. But I digress. Anyway, though, I managed to put up about 21 hours roughly into this game. And it's kind of cool because as you're going through and playing through Dragon Quest VII, it's a little different from some of the other Dragon Quest games you might have gotten beforehand, though, where it's like you have all these bite-sized adventures. Like you're going around and you're going from island to island to island. There's a little bit of a little thing that's going like between the past and the future, though. But you start off on one island where there's like no islands around you. You happen to have a good buddy that happens to be a prince, and then you have another girl companion with you, though, and y'all all out for the sake of adventure, and you want to explore the world because you think there's more beyond it, and then lo and behold, you manage to interact and find these little different puzzle piece block things. You put them together, that creates a new island. You go to this new island. It's somewhere in the distant past that has some kind of issue. You solve the issue. Bada bing, that brings a new island to pop up in the present. You collect more puzzle pieces. You go back in the past and explore a new island. You rinse, wash, and repeat it over and over and over. But I will say with this formula, even though the formula itself gets a little old, the fact that you're able to do these bite-sized adventures, you can almost knock them out within like an hour or two, depending on the island. And at least that kind of gives it a nice little charm. It's like, as long as you got like an hour or two to play this game, you can get at least a good chunk of the way through. Remember that little bit of story, put a bookmark in it, pin in it, and you can kind of roll it on to the next day whenever you happen to pick up the game again, though. So I know the game roughly takes about 70-ish hours to beat. So with me being 21, I guess I'm 2/7 of the way there. So not too bad. Not too bad. But I'm thoroughly enjoying the game. Visually speaking, this game is an absolute marvel. Like the game looks absolutely beautiful on the Switch
It does
too.
look nice.
And I was like, hey,
Wait, Zard.
yeah.
Is it 60 FPS?
Yeah, 60
on Switch?
FPS because I got the Switch 2 version, and I picked up the game digitally because you either did that or you got the game key card. And game key card is basically it's basically a digital version anyway. So I was like, forget it. I'm just getting it digital. I'm just gonna be content with picking up most third-party games on the Switch 2, just being content with it being digital. Luckily, I got the 1 terabyte micro SD express card because that's just how I'm just going to play most third party games. Every now and then I'll get graced with like a Indiana Jones where they decide to put the whole thing on the cartridge though, but that might be few and far between though.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Like that's kind of I gotta be honest with you, kind of the main reason I haven't gotten it yet. Same thing with Dragon Quest 1+2 HD 2D remake.
Yeah, I got that
I
one
just
digital
really
too.
don't like that. I really don't like that precedent.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I know there was like rumors that there might be a possibility that Nintendo might be trying to bring some smaller gigabyte cartridges on the marketplace, so people that are making games that don't quite need to be as big as close to 64 gigs, they might be doing that.
Well, I don't know how big the file size for this game is, but I don't even think that's the issue for this game. If I had to make a guess, the issue for this game is that Square Enix just doesn't want to pay for the cartridge.
No. That's why I was saying like for the smaller cartridges, if you got a smaller one that's a little bit cheaper, then it might incentivize more third parties to put it up on there. Because this game, I think digitally, it's not that big. It's like no more than 10. I want to say it's like 7-ish or so gigs, give or take. That's how big the game is. Not big at all. So yeah, given all of that, the art style, what we were talking about before we went on that tangent, it's a beautiful, stunning game. I would say it's probably one of the most beautiful games that's on the Switch 2 as it stands now. I know for the longest time we were saying Luigi's Mansion was like the most beautiful game that we all really loved on the Switch 1. So this is going to be my judging point moving from this point forward, especially when you look at that opening cutscene. This is great though. But yeah, I'm gonna be rotating between this Danganronpa V3 along with the next one that we got up on the docket, that being Mario Tennis Fever though. So those are the games I've been juggling as of late though. So speaking of Mario Tennis Fever, how are we feeling on this game, Steven? Do we love it? Do we hate it? Do we kind of feel some kind of way with the price point? Like what we're thinking?
Okay. I'm sick of talking about price points with fucking Nintendo with just any games, because nowadays it's like, God, man, the price point is not going to change. The games are not going to go down. So arguing that a game isn't worth 70 doesn't do much.
I'm glad to hear you say that because it's probably the last time we're ever going to bring it up in the pod.
No. If Grand Theft Auto is like
no. I take that back. The next time a Nintendo game is priced at 80, the conversation's going to come back up. It'll be inevitable. No, but as long as they keep coming out with $70 games, we won't bring it back up.
I've accepted it. $70 is the new 60. But even then, I will admit, Mario Tennis, even if it was 60, is certainly pushing it, because I'm playing the adventure mode actually right now, and like it's not really that amazing. So like in terms of single player content, like, well, in terms of raw content, this game is better than the recent one we got. Aces was 2018, and like that game, we didn't really have that much content in terms of like the stuff to do outside of the main modes. But this game has a ton to do. It has a lot more wacky modes. The Fever Rackets provide a lot more fun gameplay in terms of like the wackiness. This certainly feels more like a Mario tennis game, where Aces had really polished tennis mechanics. This game has a really like polished everything else. Looks pretty nice, plays pretty nice. Has a ton of variety in the modes. Ring challenge, wonder challenge, like Waluigi pinball ass mode. I'm having a lot of fun with it, honestly. Just like going around and doing the different modes, all these like trial challenges you can do. Like there's a lot here to chew on. And then the actual base tennis, like me and you have played like a couple times, it can get intense with some of the rallies. Like you can have a really long rally going and like keep the pressure keep the pressure going on your opponent. And I've had fun.
Yeah, those Fever Rackets, they introduced a really cool new concept and stuff. At first I was kind of curious. I was like, wait, how much is it really going to change the game? No, as long as you got that mode enabled, it drastically changed it. I would say that most of the rackets are kind of categorized, not officially, but you can kind of get this vibe from it as like an active or a passive racket. And what I mean by that is The active ones is like if you were able to hit that tennis ball on the opposing court, it does something to the terrain. It can electrify it, throw some little spiny shell dudes at it, drop mud or something like that, freeze it over. Stuff that can kind of get in the way with traversal in terms of you being able to hit that ball back to the other side of the court. I would consider those as active rackets. Then you got those ones that are like more like passive rackets where it's like, oh, maybe you can hit the ball and it makes it curve a little bit more or something like that. Brackets like that where it's like it kind of enhances your personal abilities, but it doesn't do like stage hazards to the other one though. So it kind of makes it like quicker and easier and faster, or maybe you got that one racket that can make you run around and zip around the court and stuff. So like a ball that might be behind you and you normally want to be able to hit it back whatsoever. Oh, now you got the speed to run back there and hit it. Stuff like that. So depending on what type of bracket you do, it kind of brings a lot of strategy to the game and stuff. And I like how one of the modes that we were able to experiment around with me and you, Steven, is the fact that you can choose the settings to where you can enter in a match with two different fever rackets. So you can literally start off in round one and be like, oh, shoot, this person got a lot of speed on me. And, you know, this banana racket ain't doing squat. Let me switch it over to my muddy racket so that way I can kind of slip them up in the mud a little bit and trip them up. There could be a little bit of strategy going into these games with some of these matches like that. Obviously, you can do this stuff with locally, or you can take it online and stuff where me and Steven been playing against each other like that, though. And I like how many modes up are in this game, and there's a lot more content coming out the gate with this game in comparison to what I've seen with Mario Tennis Aces, which the final version of that game is great. People still like that game, though. But out the gate, when people are making this comparison, it's almost a night and day difference, though. So I like how they got enough content where it should hold us over for a long time, and should they choose to do DLC after the fact, then that's where things could also get quite a bit interesting. But at least right now, there's enough meat on the bone to kind of keep you occupied for quite some time. And I like all the different characters they put up in the game, though.
Yeah, no, they had the character roster. It's everyone from Aces, plus the baby characters, uh, plus I think plus Wiggler and plus Nabbit, and there's probably one other one that they added. I'm just forgetting. Either way, like there's a decent amount of characters in this game. Like, and I do love that. Obviously, I like a nice big roster, and it doesn't really feel like there's anything missing. It feels like everything that should be here is here. So I'm happy for that. And obviously, this huge variety of characters combined with 30 fever rackets, you have so many different playstyles you can take advantage of. You could be a little fast little bitch that has like metal racket, so like little fast guy that occasionally turns invincible. You could have really heavy character combined with one of the speed rackets, so you're zooming across the court. Like there's so much fun stuff. And I just can't wait to play more of it. I'm definitely up to play this a lot with you if you want.
Oh yeah, I feel like this is definitely that game that you can kind of keep coming back to a little bit more so. And at least out of all of the Mario sports games, like between tennis, what we had with strikers, what we had with golf and stuff like that, or baseball way back in the day. Gosh, it's been a long time since they did one of those games though. Tennis has always been the series for me because I played the mess out of the N64 one. I have the GameCube one. I was almost about to get the Aces one before they announced this, and then I was like, well, I'm just gonna put more of my time into this game though. Maybe at some point later, if I get a cheap copy of Aces somewhere, then maybe I'll go back and pick that game up. But tennis series, I always like this one. It's just highly competitive, really a lot of back and forth stuff. So yeah, I really like this game though. So yeah, it's the game that I'm gonna keep coming back to, put some time up in it, and at least try to go through and get all the stuff unlocked. Like we got all the stages unlocked, me and you. We just got to go through and try to get all these characters. There's quite a bit to unlock and color variations and stuff. But yeah, outside of that, I think that's our opening thoughts on Mario Tennis Fever, though. So a great game, newest Switch 2 game on the block, and I think what the next one will likely be the Yoshi's the Yoshi game. I think is the next one that's up on the block. Switch 2 only version. Yeah.
Really, half the discussion I've seen about this game is like, oh wow, 4 hour adventure mode, and it's $70, and I'm like, first of all,
no.
who's playing a fucking tennis game for the single player is my main thing. And then second of all, like, yeah, like it really, you put in as much as you put in as much as you think is worth it. Like the gameplay of this game is pretty addictive. So you can put a ton of hours into it if you really want. I for one am having fun and I think this game will definitely make its, definitely prove its worth at least for me over time.
Yeah.
But like that's all. It's like it's a good game. I just hope it gets updates. I hope it gets just a couple free updates. More costumes, more stages, more characters. All the normal stuff is all they got to do because it already feels pretty complete.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it feels pretty complete, and I'm thoroughly enjoying my experience with it. And only time will tell how more people are going to feel about it as more systems get out into people's hands. More people happen to go back and pick this game up if they don't happen to get it on day one or happen to catch it on a sale or something like that. But overall, if this is how we're going to treat Mario sports games moving on in the future, then maybe we'll get a. If they want to go back to the drawing board with strikers, maybe we'll get a good one this time. People that love golf, maybe you'll get a better one this time, though. And oh gosh, fingers crossed, maybe we'll get a baseball one at some point, though. Gosh dang, Nintendo. All right, anyway, though, that's pretty much all of our thoughts on Mario Tennis Fever. So now we're going to go ahead and jump over to the next major segment of the show, that being What's in the Gaming News. All right, Steven. It was only a matter of time before we had to talk about this sucker, though, because Jeff Keighley was praising this game to the moon and back, and I guess the moon has fallen down out of the sky, though, because apparently Highguard, they already started laying off these people, and the game has barely been out for, barely a week or so or something like that, and I started looking at these reports. I was like, dang. I was like, how in the world are you going to promote a game like this, be the closeout on the Game Awards and stuff like that? And they're already laying these people off. And then the people was like, man, probably they're not going to be able to put out as much content as what we originally planned for and all of this stuff, though. And I wasn't going to talk about this topic for long, though. But I was like, if I'm covering the Game Awards and stuff like that, I was like, I got to at least bring this mess back up. Because we were both looking at each other when we were talking about everything that was showed off at the Game Awards. And we were like, what kind of crazy mess did they end that show off with? Because they should have ended it off with like the Mega Man announcement or something like that. And at least it would have felt a little bit better for us, though. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, all I have to say is, fucking, they got what they deserved, honestly. Like, oh my god, wow, from the creators of Titanfall and Apex Legends and this and that. Like, they only know how to make live service fucking slop shooter games at this point. Like, I don't know, it just does not look like, it's not an interesting game. It looks like everything else I've ever seen before. It looks like the most cookie cutter, generic shit possible. And like, no, I can't in good conscience say that I was ever even going to be excited for it. Like, yeah, I am biased. Whatever. But like, no. From the moment I seen this game, I was like, yep, this game is gonna die instantly. This is what you end the Game Awards with. And like, yeah, Jeff Keighley has been in this industry for how long? He knows what that kind of hype will do to a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen people saying, "Oh, you guys are overreacting." Just because it was shown at the end of the Game Awards doesn't mean that it's like a big game. And it's like, no, didn't they show fucking Okami too last year?
Yeah, that's where we got the reveal. Yeah, Okami.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my, like no, the Game Awards should be this place where like gaming's like future is like put on spotlight. But, like, I don't know. Jeff Keighley was like really The fact that Jeff Keighley was gassing up Highguard so much and everything I heard about it didn't look good. And by the way, do you remember how they literally went silent? They went silent for 3 weeks.
Yeah, radio silent. Nothing on their Twitter accounts. Nothing. I was like,
what
you
was
can't
that?
you can't do that purposely or unintentionally to the lead up of what will be a game release whatsoever. I mean, you don't see Nintendo. Well, sometimes you see it at Microsoft, but you don't typically see it with Nintendo, Sony, a Capcom, Square. No, they start ramping it up almost to the point where it's like, all right, you've seen enough. At least you might check out personally, but for the consumer, you never know when or if and whenever one of those posts that they're making about that game happens to strike a chord with somebody and they happen to see it for the first time, or it's just a casual reminder it's about to come out to your local store. Make sure to pick it up along with your groceries or something like that, though. So I don't know what they were thinking with this one in terms of their marketing cycle, though, but it was just really weird. Like, that was just an omen. I was like, I don't think anything good is going to probably come out of this game whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it just it's hilarious to see that. Yep, they laid off, like everyone got laid off, and I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, layoffs across the board combined with them not being able to do nearly as much as they wanted to do originally.
Yeah.
It's like it's over. Like the game will not recover from this, obviously.
Yeah, no, pretty much. It is
Like I don't know, like at this
insane.
point, okay, since when has a live service game ever announced, "Oh, we're ramping things down and it gets even better"? Like no, just them ramping stuff down does not mean, "Oh, we're gonna be focusing on polishing the content that's already there." Basically, what they're saying is, "Well, we failed. We're gonna slowly kill off the game. Gonna, you know, try to recoup our losses."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like I know this is a free to play game and all. It's not as bad as Concord, where Concord was a $40 release, so that literally had no one playing it. But this game had like 90,000 people playing it day one. I think it's like down to 2,000.
Oh yeah, no, it's. I think they got close to almost 100,000 at its peak or something like that, and then since then it's plummeted like off of a cliff.
Yeah, it's like it's just sad, honestly.
No, it
Like
kind of
I'm
just.
not that I was never gonna. Okay, well that's a lie. I was like considering as a
You were
joke
considered.
playing this
Oh
game.
no, Steven, no man.
I didn't do it, obviously, because it just looks so fucking boring. Like it's confused on what it wants to be. It's like this PvP game, but it's also kind of like a team shooter, but you like ride into battle. Yeah, it confused me. There's really nothing else to talk about with this game, honestly, though.
Yeah. Now we'll leave it at that though. But if you're even looking or considering this, and they put money or microtransact, don't even give this game a second chance. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
do
just
yourself a
get out of
favor.
there while you still can.
Do yourself a favor. All right. Well, outside of that, that's all we got to say on that. But going from one almost live, well, that one being a live service game, to another game that's almost live service, but not quite, but it's Nintendo's variants. Nintendo happened to have a pretty big update for Splatoon 3. And I looked at this update and I was like, what the heck? I know we mentioned it and we were talking about like little minor predictions in the last episode, but we finally got all of the details for this thing. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, how the heck is Nintendo making updates like this that are, they're not groundbreaking, but it's pretty fundamentally like it's a strong shakeup or whatever though. So in this big major, and you knew it was big because the fact that it gave you like a digit, like leading with the first digit and zeros after that, the 11.0.0 update. The major key highlight is the fact that if you're able to get a series of kills from like 1, 2, 3, you can enter into this like flow aura state, which basically like enhances all your abilities. Like your run speed goes up, your swing speed goes up, a little bit of your damage happens to go up, your ink resistance go up too, and you get like that sparkly glow and stuff like that. Like that's crazy to think about that. And on top of that, when you're fighting against people, they actually show a health meter on top of all of the different inklings or octolings that you're facing. So now, you might have almost killed somebody. They might have a sliver bit of health, but somebody else, one of your teammates, might be right next to somebody, and they can notice this and be like, oh, I just got to tap this dude once or twice, and they're down for the count. And I look at updates like these, I'm like, yes, Splatoon 3 ain't going nowhere. But then also it kind of feels like maybe that they want to test some things out for whenever Splatoon 4 happens to come out of the docket. It ain't gonna be no sooner than like 2 or maybe 3 years from now though. But
Yeah,
like,
this is definitely
huh.
a feature that's this right here. The health thing is definitely a feature that's gonna be in Splatoon 4 that they're just bringing over now to see what people think.
Yeah, I'm fully confident on that. Kind of like how they Nintendo isn't foreign to this concept, in terms of like a late update. Like, shoot, we even have weird stuff like with Super Mario Party and the fact that they
That's
brought
exactly what I was
online
gonna say.
mode to that game at the 9th hour right before they released Superstars, which had online built into the game. So they'll
Yeah.
do weird stuff like this.
3 years later, and a free update, mind you. So it's like it was cool. Honestly, I'll admit it was enough to get me to buy that game just to try it out. Because that's the whole reason I didn't buy that game, because it just did not look all that fun, and I couldn't really play it with anyone, anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, that Splatoon 3 update, we messed around with it. I managed to fire up the game again because it's one of my evergreen games. I always boot it up every now and then, or at least like once, twice, sometimes 3 times a month or whatever, juggling in between the games I'm constantly playing that's new. But I like that update. I really do. The health bar thing is cool. It's kind of hard to get into the flow order state, especially me playing on those higher level difficulties.
Sorry, 1 second. Giving me an issue of technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. All right. Hopefully, you got it all fixed up.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, so yeah, you were talking about the update, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was mentioning about the update. I really do like the update, the fact that it gave you those health bars. So that can be really helpful once you've done so much damage to the enemy and you might have died at the 9th hour and they only had a sliver bit of health, but at least now your teammates can notice that and be like, oh, your death was not in vain. I can clean up what you basically started to dish out. So I really like that update.
And you can see it from pretty far away. You can see it also helps if someone goes around the corner, you'll still see their health bar above them for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Or you can see it with your own teammates. So if someone's down in health, you might want to get in there to back them up. Works the other way around too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not a crazy update, but it is like core fundamentally as a shakeup. So I just kind of wanted to bring it out there real quick though. But yeah, nice and interesting stuff right there, Nintendo. Positive update right there. I really like that. All right, now let's talk about one of these directs that happened, and it's the theme direct for Tomadachi Life Living the Dream, because it managed to get its own direct. It ran for like what, Stephen, about 20-25 minutes, give or take, or something like that. Yeah. There was a lot of content that was up in this direct. I didn't necessarily sit down and watch it 1-to-1 for the whole thing. I kind of got the Cliff Note version, got to see when that actual release date was supposed to happen for it, because they finally unveiled that. And there's a lot of different features and weird, wacky stuff that just happens in these games. I wasn't the one that actually played the Tomodachi Life that happened on the 3DS, but maybe you're a little bit more familiar with the series, or you got a little bit more to say about this.
Yeah, so I never played the original. I'm sorry. I'm honestly just as informed as you are, but I've heard from people that have played it, like our friend Sonic and others. Like the game looks fun. It just looks like a nice, like, wacky experience.
And I've seen some weirdo stuff where it's like, hey, you can be on the beach or something like that, and then all of a sudden you have like a weirdo random old head rise up out of the ocean. It's just weird stuff like that. It's like Animal Crossing with some freaky weird stuff up on there. It's kind of what you're getting with this simulation life or whatever.
And it's got like a ton of customization. It's got the Miitopia makeup features, so people are gonna be able to make like literally anything. And then it's also got like you can customize the wall, like the outside of your house. You can make like there's a lot of customization. You can customize the entire shape of the island. Like they showed like the island shaped like a me at one point. Mm-hmm. You can make a giant city, you can do this, you can do that. It seems like it's gonna be a pretty fun life sim game where you literally play God. It's not like Animal Crossing where you can like terraform the island. You just play God on this one.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird how like it was like one of the scenarios where it was like I think it was like two different characters. They were out on a date or something like that, or kind of like a date or whatever. They're at the amusement park. And then it was like one of them was like, hey, will you go out with me? But then it's like somebody else popped in out of nowhere. It's like, no, I like you more. And then someone else popped out underneath the chair. And it's like, no, I like you more. So then it was like one person that was trying to figure out if a relationship was going to work. But then you get like three different people vibing for their own attention. And it's just weird stuff like that. I guess you just never know exactly what was going to happen. And it was kind of interesting because I think that one scenario, that play out in the direct for us was different in other directs, like at the UK direct and I think maybe the Japan one or whatever though. So they were doing different scenarios. That way they kind of, if you were to go around and look at the different stuff, you can see how many different scenarios can play out in this game though.
Yeah.
So
And it was cool. No, I definitely think that like it's gonna be a cool game. I don't know if I'm gonna get it at launch because it's just I don't know, it's not really the type of game that I really am gonna be all that crazy about. But like I'll have fun definitely with like making the Miis and all that. But like it is a niche game. People have wanted it for a while, but it is niche. It's a very vocal minority that would not shut up about Tomodachi Life for the
well, we
longest
say
time.
it's niche, but it did have some pretty good sales on the 3DS era. I'm curious to see
Yeah,
how
like
good, because
maybe
it
I
was
don't
like it
know.
was 7 million copies that sold on the 3DS, give or take. And I was like, oh gosh, I didn't know it sold at least that much. Now, with it being on the Switch, which happened to have a user base of like 155 million ish, we'll talk about the numbers here a little later in the show. You have that plus the people that also have a Switch 2. They might own both consoles, or somebody might only have a Switch 2, somebody might only have a Switch 1. I'm kind of curious to know what the sales of this game will be because it's get not as crazy as Animal Crossing, but it's kind of up there in terms of like people that love those Sims games. Like
Well,
there's a market for those people.
well, yeah, it's weird. This game's not getting a Switch 2 edition. It's just getting a Switch 2 update, like Mario Galaxy 1+2.
Yeah.
So it looks like I don't know. It's from what it seems, we're probably only gonna get Switch 2 editions for like very select games. In my opinion, by the time 2027 hits, we're hardly gonna have any unique games coming out for Switch 1. It'll be like, remasters and remakes that'll be coming to Switch 1 that also are coming to Switch 2. Like, Switch 2 production's about to ramp up significantly. I'm pretty sure Nintendo just wanted Switch stuff into the Switch 2 generation just in case it failed.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case Switch 2 is like a disastrous launch, they still had stuff on Switch for the next couple next couple months.
I feel like this year might be the very last year that we have these cross-gen titles like Tomodachi Life, Rhythm Heaven, Groove. Like those are probably the last two major ones, and then obviously we might have Switch 2 editions or whatever though. But like in terms of exclusive Switch only games, these might be the last couple. At least that's what my gut's kind of telling me. Unless it happen to pop up like a surprise one, like a Mario Galaxy 1, 2, or whatever though. I mean, they could do that and still come out this year, but I'm thinking 2027 onward, probably not. That might be the greatest extent of it though. But outside of that, was there anything else you want to say on Tomodachi Live?
It looks good. Like it's a wacky game. There's tons of options. It's always I've seen clips online of like just all the Mii's like dancing and singing or like funny relationships that you can make. Like I think it's gonna be a really cool game. I think the issue is that there's no online functionality at all. You can't share a code for people to download your Mii. You can't share any images from this game online. Like you can't use the built-in share feature for specifically Tomodachi Life, which makes no sense considering, makes no sense considering you have games like Miitopia that never had this weird restriction.
Yeah, that
I
is
think
gonna be a little
Nintendo's
odd because
really
I
scared.
know you can get a little creative with some of the stuff. Oh, and they already talked about some restrictions and stuff. Like if you abuse this mess, you're gonna get reported on this mess. Because there was some wild stuff back in the 3DS eras. If you know, you know though. But I
Yeah,
can
but
only.
like this happens with every user-generated
It
content game.
happens, yes, and Nintendo's just really protected. We know how this company operates by now.
Yeah, it's just dumb. And if sorry to be a little skeptical here, but like yeah, it probably was motivated by some recent events. They don't want everyone downloading all of these Mii's that, you know, don't send a good message for Nintendo. That's probably really all it is that Nintendo doesn't want people getting the wrong message.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. It's dumb.
All right. Well, outside of that, that's all we got for Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. In terms of that release date, it's coming out April 16th. So now we got an actual date for that. So that is the April game right there, though. All right, now we're gonna keep this thing on and moving though, because oh boy, Steven, this is where the show gets real, Steven. That Virtual Boy experience, it's gonna be dropping out this week. I believe it's on February 17th, which is literally like 2 days from 2 days from now. What the Oh golly, 2 days from now. It's on Tuesday. For some reason in my mind, I was thinking it was gonna be Wednesday. Tuesday is when this thing drops. In terms of the app of when you're gonna able to actually go through and play all these Virtual Boy games. However, keep in mind, there's only two ways you can play this mess. Either the cardboard model, or you gotta have like the actual like kit and stuff, like the one that's like the 1-to-1 model. You don't get the controller, unfortunately. Maybe they'll do it at some point, Nintendo. I'm looking at you. Yeah. But you get one of those two different models though. Luckily, mine is in the mail right now. It seems it's going to be trying to deliver on Monday, that being tomorrow. So I actually should get it a day before this whole app happens to release. So thank you, Nintendo, for actually getting these things out in a reasonable time. Because honestly, I was thinking I was going to get it after the app dropped though. But in this overview trailer, they actually managed to go through and showcase every game that we're supposed to be getting at the point of launch, and the little bit of roadmap that we're going to get beyond it a little further down the road though, because at launch we're going to get Galactic Pinball, Teleroboxer, Red Alarm, Virtual Boy Wario Land, 3D Tetris, Golf, and the Mansion of Innsmouth. So those are all of the launch day games. However, there's going to be more games coming down the road that's almost going to complete out. There's not a big library for the Virtual Boy, like what in the teens in terms of like how many games there are though. But the cool thing they mentioned in the showcase in this update is that they're going to drop out 2 unreleased games that has never came to market whatsoever, and they're going to be available some point later on throughout this year, because I think the plan is they're going to try to drop out every single one of these games, basically for the whole entirety of 2026. So I'm like, hey, yo, what? And oh shoot, dang, I'm trying to pull back up my notes. I'm trying to pull up the actual 2 name of those games though. But while I'm digging that up, Steven, give your quick thoughts on this mess.
I don't know, man. Like it seems okay. Like I never really went into depth of like actually trying the Boy games. Obviously, that's not something I've ever had the technology to actually really try. But like either way, like I can definitely respect Nintendo for making such a bold business decision. Like, oh wow, we're gonna do Virtual Boy, and then the executives are like, really? Like you're not gonna do anything else. You're not gonna do DS or Wii next, and then someone at Nintendo was like, "No, Virtual Boy."
No, this is just the bide
Like,
time.
but like, listen, I'm just gonna say it right now. The way that they are handling this is fucking stupid. Yes, I understand that you want to have the accessory in order to play these the intended way is a cool idea. It should not be required. These games can play. Most of these games, Zard, can play perfectly fine
But
using
that's
regular
playing it
control,
in
regular
2D.
display.
They want
Right.
it with the authentic
Well,
experience,
guess what?
Steven.
We should have the option to just do it regularly, so it can be captured, so I can play them on my TV. So it's just for
I'll be the
convenience.
judge of that, Steven, once I get
What
this
do you
thing
mean
in
you'll
my
be the
hands.
judge?
I,
Zard,
I'm honestly really looking forward to experiencing this little bit of history. Yes, I'm not gonna put like 1,000,001 hours
but
up in these games though, but I heard some good things about, like for example, that Wario
okay,
Land game and the way how they use the stereoscopic 3D and stuff like that. And this was like Nintendo ahead of the game, obviously well before the era where we at now, where with virtual game or not VR games is what I meant to say. VR games where they stand today.
yeah, but you got to think of it like this, Zard. There's convenience, or yeah, there's playing it as intended, and then there's making things overtly annoying for no reason. Like for example, like okay, you can make that same argument for anything. Game Boy Advance games, technically, they were only able to be played in handheld. What if they made you play it in handheld mode on Switch? Wouldn't you think that would be annoying?
Yeah, but at the same point, with the Virtual Boy, with it being the way how it is, visually speaking, it's hard to do that.
Yeah, but
If you could visually make it where it looked 3D, like let's say you had 3D TVs, then yes, then you should be able to experience that, and that would be
okay,
fine.
but
But
then
not
why
everybody
doesn't
TV is like that. So
better yet, just why doesn't Nintendo give the option and then it will say like on screen, oh, just so you know, these games might not have full functionality without your 3D display, but you can do it if you'd like. Like, why? Because it's just I don't know. To me, it's annoying because like yeah, especially for these games that like hardly anyone has had a chance to play for so long. Like yeah, make it available to play on TV, or better yet, like do some kind of thing to where it has like depth perception, even if it's not the real 3D effect. Just like mess with the layers or something. I know it's possible, Zard, because there's an emulator on 3DS that does this, or it's not even just on 3DS, but it's called the Red Viper emulator, and it does Virtual Boy games. You want to know what else it provides? Alternate fucking colors.
oh,
Why do
okay.
we have to
I was,
wait for
yeah, I
colors?
know. I saw that in the overview trailer, and I was like, I don't understand
Come
why we gotta
on.
wait for that. Maybe they wanted to have everybody experience the red at start, but I'm like,
But
I mean,
why?
I'm
Still,
actually that can't be that difficult to switch and toggle that. I'll give you that one, Steven. I'm
it's
like,
also probably very straining on the eyes. I'd rather play them in black and white. At least that way I can actually appreciate the pixel art better. Because like Virtual Boy Wario Land actually looks pretty nice. The Virtual Boy games are like believe it or not, Zard, Virtual Boy was 32-bit. So it's literally right in the middle of
right in the middle
six.
between Super Nintendo and 64.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's right in the middle, technology wise, which you didn't really get a lot of that. Like for example, you had some 32-bit games on like PS1. I think like like the Mega Man games or like Mega Man X4, Mega Man X5, and all those like really nice, smooth, sprite looking games. Castlevania Symphony of the Night as well. And it would have been really nice for Nintendo's like 32-bit lineup to look good on these modern displays. But like, I don't know, man, like, the red filter, the red fucking blood filter doesn't really look all that amazing in my opinion. Like I think like I guess the red and the black is a cool aesthetic for the actual model of it, but like why is it taking time for them to add this? Is this stupid thing?
Yeah, I don't know what the decision making on that is, so I'll give you that. But I did manage to figure out the two games I was talking about. Those two unreleased games that were canceled were Zero Racers and D Hopper. Zero Racers was kind of like a spinoff of like F Zero, like what we got on the Super Nintendo. So that's gonna be cool. And I'm very intrigued about D Hopper, or I guess also known as
Intelligent
Dragon
systems,
Hopper, because
right?
that's intelligent systems, and they're the people that are behind my Fire Emblem series, Paper Mario and stuff, the WarioWare. So I was like, yeah, I got to see what Intelligent Systems was trying to cook up with D Hopper on that one though. So yeah, when you get cool stuff like this, games that were never released before. What was it? The last time we had this like with a Nintendo game was like what, Star Fox 2, when they did the SNES Classic and stuff, and luckily you're able to play that on the NSO as it stands right now. But yeah, I'm always a big fan of when they do stuff like that. It adds a lot of value to the service and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to this when it comes out. I'll be able to get my hands on it in full in like a couple of days from now. The only thing that sucks is you ain't gonna be able to really get a good clean way of capturing footage though. But I do like how they actually came out in a statement and said, hey, the VR modes that you have, I think within Captain Toad, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, they actually work with this headset though too. So hey, now you don't gotta rely on the Labo VR kit no more like that now. So I'm like, hey, that's something right there. I'll take that. So at least it'll give me something to be able to do tomorrow though. So outside of that, I'm thoroughly liking this. At least me and the other 5 people in the room are going to be thoroughly excited to finally get this Virtual Boy experience in our hands, and hopefully it lives up to all the hype, though. At least that's the hope, at least. But yeah, that's going to do it in terms of all of our thoughts on that Virtual Boy overview trailer. So now we got to talk about some numbers, Steven, because we did manage to get some updated fiscal report numbers for the Switch 2, along with the Switch 1 and stuff, the top 10 that happen to go along with that list though. Not a lot has changed up in here, and I'm trying to pull up all these stats as we're speaking right now. We'll start off with Switch 1 related stuff, work our way over to the Switch 2 though. That top 10 hasn't really changed, Steven. Not much at all. We'll go through it real quick. Oh,
Oh
what?
yeah, just repeat back the top 10 real quick,
Yeah. So New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, 18.8 million. Super Mario Party, 21.28 million. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, 22.4. Sword and Shield at 27.08. Scarlet and Violet tied with it now. 20 or not, I'm sorry, not tied. A million over it. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet at 28.08 million. Super Mario Odyssey is at 30.27 million. And I think that actually, maybe thanks to the update, I remember for the longest time Mario Odyssey was below 30. It finally cracked above 30, so it got to that point. Breath of the Wild is at 33.64. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is at 37.44. Animal Crossing New Horizons at 49.32. And then the king that will never be caught unless for some reason Mario Kart World happens to get up that high. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at a comfortable 70.59 million units. And in terms of the overall hardware sales for the Nintendo Switch 1, it's currently at 155.37 million, which officially makes this Nintendo's highest selling device of all time, portable or the console. It is their highest selling one now. It passed the DS. It's solid. It's the highest selling Nintendo platform of all time. If it weren't for Sony's moving the goalpost, it technically would have passed the PS2. It's in that era now, roughly, where those numbers are pretty close or almost 1-to-1. I know they moved that goalpost to like 160 million. Will the Switch 1 ever catch it? I highly doubt that. But it's weird how they said that numbers produced, not sell through. They said produced. So how many more did Nintendo produce beyond that 155 million? I doubt we'll ever know that number though. But yeah, in terms of the fiscal numbers, just updating the basic top 10 and console sold for the Switch 1, that's the full updates on that. So was there something that you were about to say on that, Steven?
Yeah, like everyone keeps saying, "Oh, only this many more units until the Switch out sells the PS2." I don't think it matters if it outsells the PS2. I think Nintendo fans just want a desperate like win. Like it's kind of pathetic. Like for example, the PS2 only sold as good as it did because it was a cheap DVD player that could also play games. Like it was a decently cheap option to get as a DVD player back in the day. So, and I know for a fact that's what my family used it as a decent amount. Like obviously, it had some of the best games of that generation, and it was an amazing console. But it also did have that going for it, and really good fucking marketing. So yeah, it really does make sense why the PS2 is best selling. Like the Switch, like let's be honest, the Switch One is really only where it is because of like COVID and because of Animal Crossing. Like it got that second wind and it's been keeping steady momentum since then. Either way though, like, it is cool to see it outsell the DS. I'll say that. Both are going for like that similar portable market. I'm pretty sure Nintendo released stats a while back. People most commonly play Switch in handheld mode. So that's nice.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I,
so
I yeah, at least for the games, I'm just glad to see Mario Odyssey reaching 30. That Switch 2 update probably did help it. People picking up Switch 2 that never had Switch 1.
yeah, and you probably get a few people out there like what you said. They pick up Mario Odyssey with it, and they try to enjoy that experience on the Switch too. So yeah, not too bad, not too bad. There was also a few other games that were sold within like the past few months that we actually got individual numbers for. Not that they're in the top 10, because it would that would be a whole mountain to climb if they were ever try to get that high though. But those Super Mario Galaxy plus Galaxy 2 sales that we're able to get, either physically or you're able to buy them, digitally like a la carte. Um, we've managed to figure out that Mario Galaxy on Switch sold about 2.28 million units, while Super Mario Galaxy 2 managed to sell about 2.42 million units though. So
Makes
yes,
sense.
a couple million, and it's no shock that Galaxy 2 sold a little bit better than Galaxy 1, considering the fact that you had Galaxy 1 available the 3D All Star collection, whereas Galaxy 2, this is the first way how you're able to play it whatsoever on the Switch One. So not
Yeah,
bad.
Galaxy 2 is more sought out, and obviously, a lot of people prefer Galaxy 2, and like they're allowed to be wrong. Like I respect your
Heck
opinion,
no, ho
but
ho no.
you're
Galaxy 2 is better than Galaxy 1. What are you getting on with this
we are
mess?
not discussing this
We ain't
today,
getting
but
on this on
no,
the
it's
pod.
incorrect.
It's
It's
my
incorrect.
show, so we're gonna forgo that conversation. Save that argument for
Okay.
another day. But go on.
Yeah, it's fine. Either way though, um, yeah, no, a lot of cool stuff from sales, and then Switch 2 stuff is also interesting. I think you have that pulled up. We'll talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So in terms of the Switch 2 sales, here we go. So not a big top 10 yet because we ain't got 10 games that are first party yet though. But at the bottom at number 4, we got Kirby Air Riders at 1.76 million. We got Pokemon Legends ZA, the Switch 2 edition at 3.89. I'll update you with the Switch 1 sales here in a minute. Donkey Kong Bonanza at 4.25 million. And then you got
Good.
Mario Kart World at 14.03 million. Which, if you look at that number and compare it to the overall hardware sales that we managed to sell for the Switch 2, it's sitting at 17.37 million. So it's almost a 1-to-1 attach rate. It's like a very small percentage of people that are just buying the console straight up and not getting the Mario Kart World, either bundle in or buying it separately, like how I did, because I just wanted to get the game physical. But yeah, not too bad. And honestly, that's the one thing I wanted to see and look up. And I don't know, Steven, if you're able to find that number real quick. From the last physical report that we had before this, because the last one, it wasn't including holiday sales yet. Comparing that to where we're at now, it jumped up pretty high, and it's getting pretty close to the Nintendo's forecast of how much units that they were going to roughly be able to sell by the end of their fiscal quarter. But I remember how people were saying in all these outlets that the Switch 2 was selling bad. It didn't necessarily sell bad per se. It just might be a little lower than what a Switch 1 was selling roughly around in the holiday season, though. But all things considered, with the change in marketplace, the way how memory stuff is driving up, costs for stuff or just electronics in general, it didn't really have as bad as a holiday as what we might have been thinking. But I know overall, as the industry as a whole, it didn't do as good this holiday season in comparison to last other previous holiday seasons though.
I was looking because it shows it at the bottom. In terms of hardware sales, they sold 5.82. They sold 5.82 million Switch 2 units in quarter one of that physical year. So like quarter one, when the Switch 2 released, they sold 5.8 million. Quarter two, which was the next couple months, was 4.54 million, and then quarter three was 7.01 million. So there was a bump, most likely due to Legends ZA.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Holiday season plus Legends ZA. Yeah, that's a pretty good bump because to get 7, which is close to 10 million. I remember in those first couple of years when the Switch 1 was coming out, they were averaging about almost 20 million units per year, roughly.
Yeah, and it makes sense because, like, we heard all those we heard all those reports about how the holidays weren't really that good for any gaming company. I think it's mostly because, what Nintendo got their quote unquote holiday game out in early October. Like Legends ZA came out a lot earlier than most of their holiday games come out. So that's really the only reason that Nintendo's holiday was kind of weak because Gen 10 is coming and that's going to prove if Switch 2 can actually sell a good holiday.
Yeah, and speaking of Legends ZA, overall, even though I said it was only 3.89 that were Switch 2 editions, Switch 1 copies was 8.41 million. So put them two together, and it managed to sell 12.3 million units in less than 3 months. That has eclipsed the amount of sales that we managed to get for our Pokemon Legends Arceus that preceded before this in this series of like the Legends series. So that's crazy. Doing it in a fraction of the time. And obviously this game is going to have a little bit of legs to, kind of keep it going in a sense all the way until like what will be holiday when we could get a Gen 10 this year though. But yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely see what happens in the future with like Switch 2, but like so far it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, and even if you were to look at this and even compare the rate of Switch 2 sales comparison to Switch 1 sales like week to week, it's drastically higher than even to the point of where the Switch 1 was at. I mean, it's roughly hitting, and they had a little graph on this. Roughly by like week 29, where we're at right now, was equivalent to where the Switch 1 was roughly selling at by almost week 45, if you're almost comparing like apples to apples on this mess though. So Switch 2 is still doing good considering, marketplace of where we at right now. So that's just some things to kind of keep in mind though. Obviously we're in the slow period now between like January and March where you ain't going to be moving a ton of units right after the holidays stuff though. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how sales play out between now and almost to like the middle of summer where things will actually start to pick up again once again. But not too bad in terms of numbers right there, though. I want to see that Donkey Kong Bonanza get higher than 3 million. Because I think, like, right now, what's the math on that? Like, 3 million to the, 3 million to the 17.37. No, I'm
Which
sorry. I said
game?
3 million. No,
Yeah.
4.25 million for Donkey Kong.
It's
4.25.
about like exactly a fourth. So 1 in 4 Switch 2 owners own Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah. Yeah, roughly so. So about roughly 1 in 4. It's not a bad percentage though. I would love to see it where it's like 2 to 3, or for every 3 people, like 2 of them own it. I know I'm dreaming pretty big on that one though, but or at least half. I'm looking for a 50-50s or something like that. Like, come on, people. What else are you gonna play up on the Switch? I still argue, dare say, because Metro Prime 4, and I didn't even mention this in the fiscal numbers. It's probably the best time to mention it because it's never gonna probably pop up again. We didn't get no numbers for that game whatsoever. And normally Nintendo will give us numbers for games if they manage to sell at least 1 million within their 3-month window span. And I guess between Switch 1 and Switch 2, neither one of those two versions managed to sell over 1 million, kind of like what we were looking at with like Pokemon Legends ZA. If it wasn't able to do that close to launch, I highly doubt it's going to happen any point after that, though. Now, maybe put the different versions together, it might have sold 1 million, but like it kind of hurts the fact that they report them weirdly like that. So I mean, it is what it is. We ain't gonna get no numbers on that game. So it's probably gonna sell less than maybe 3 million when it's all said and done, which is kind of crazy though. But that'll be, I think, worse than Metroid Prime Remaster. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, but I think outside of that, I think that's pretty much it in terms of the numbers games right there, though. So overall, not bad numbers for their fiscal report. Not bad at all. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and jump over to the last two major segments of the show, where we got to talk about Nintendo's partner showcase and the crazy show that they managed to drop out on that one. And then we also got to talk about the state of play one. One of them I will say is better than the other. But let's go ahead and talk about that Nintendo Direct partner showcases. This one aired on February 5th. And everybody and their mama, I think, was expecting that we're going to get a general Nintendo Direct, right? It made sense, Steven. It made sense. Typically, every February, they manage to hit us with something like that, a big show to kind of outline everything else that we could expect for the rest of 2026. However, keep in mind, in the lead up to this Direct, they started going on their Twitter Direct thing. And at that point, we were kind of looking at each other like, it might be a partner. And then rumors came out. Nate the Hate said some stuff. That's what we got, a Nintendo Direct partner showcase. It wasn't a general Nintendo Direct that everybody was wanting or expecting, but it's a show nonetheless, though. And at least for this one, while we're talking about this, we'll talk about our overall general consensus at the end. But the only things we're going to probably talk about out of the show is either personal highlights or the most notable things, because we probably won't go through and talk about like every tiny little thing that they happen to showcase off in this thing, though. And I was trying to at least get some of this clips and stuff at least along the way, though, so that way y'all can see it up in the little screen there. So hopefully I can get it going now. But as I was like looking at this little footage and stuff, though, they played one game at the very beginning of the show, Steven, that I thought Was that the one that you were a little bit more of a fan of? I'm trying to
The
think.
Orbit, what the one that's like the It Takes Two kind of game,
Yeah,
the
the It Takes
multiplayer.
Two one. Like that
What's
was the
it's got like
one.
the I don't know. I feel like you'd like that. It's like an '80s anime style. It's got to it. It looks really cool, but like they kind of showed it in a bad way. Like the way they were describing it is like really stupid.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
the way how they were showing it, it was kind of, and then this was the same game that we already technically knew about. That was the whole theme for this whole entire Nintendo Direct was updates on games that we already really knew about. There wasn't really much in the new department in terms of like anything that we didn't know that they actually showed off in here for the first time, or at least notable releases up in here though. Because like this one that you can see on the screen right now, yeah, it was like 80s style animation and stuff like that. And like what you said is similar to It Takes Two or Split Fiction and stuff. I don't think it's gonna be a bad game per se though, but I don't know. I may like it, I may not. I don't know. I really honestly don't know. But I got a lot on the docket, so I wouldn't probably be able to get around to it anytime soon, even if I wanted to. I still have Split Fiction to play with you, Steven, and we still have yet to even play that game, though. But yeah, they started off the show like that. And when I saw them start off the show with this announcement, I was like, you know what? I ain't really expecting too much out of this show because that really ultimately kind of set the tone right then and there. At least everything else that they were going to at least outline for the rest of the show. Now I gotta pull up my little Discord notes here and see exactly what else I wanted to talk about up in this show, and then just say something, Steven, if there was anything that I don't have on this list, but you wanted to mention though.
I genuinely don't remember half of the stuff that they even showed in this partner showcase. Like, I think the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth port looks nice.
Yeah, they did manage to showcase off Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which we knew it was coming at some point. We just didn't know exactly when that they were gonna bring it over to the Switch. And because reminder, like Final Fantasy VII Remake came out January of this year, and they're saying Rebirth's gonna be coming out right around the summer ish. I think it was June, give or take. But it's summertime when this game is gonna come out for the Switch too. So bang bang, two Final Fantasy games to start off this year. And that's not bad in terms of that turntable, in terms of being done with one game, moving on to the next one though. So that gives me full confidence that yeah, by the time we get the third part of Final Fantasy VII, the final one, it's gonna be day and date. Like when that game comes out, it will be coming out on Switch 2 on that release date, which is gonna be cool. I'll still be picking it up on PS5 because that's just where I got the other two versions at, so I can keep it consistent though. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that version will be with them making it in mind on the same day and date release though. But yeah, that was a cool announcement for those that want to play this whole series but only have access to Nintendo consoles. So yeah, that was cool. I like that. Let's see what else do we have up in here. I think, and let me rewind it back a little bit. The Adventures of Elliot, that HD 2D game. That one looks really good. We already knew about the game and stuff though, but thankfully they managed to give us a release date for it. It's coming out on June the 18th. So at least now I got a good June game that stand out that I'm gonna be able to actually enjoy. So summer, I think we're not gonna be missing in terms of stuff like that though. And then I guess they took some feedback and stuff in terms of like, you know, us playing the demo, giving them feedback and stuff like that. The game looks beautiful. They got to show more footage off of it. They took some tweaks that we were saying about the game, incorporated it, and we can kind of see some of that stuff in action in the trailer though. But outside of that, not too much more to know about it though. But yeah, coming out June the 18th. Let's see what else did I have up on my little list over here.
I can say one thing real quick you don't have here. The Super Bomberman collection was
Hey,
cool.
good timing. It just played on the screen. Yeah, the Bomberman one was cool because it's like an anniversary edition. Wasn't there like a couple? It has like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up on that list.
Yeah, and then from what I see in 3, 4, and 5 never released in the US, and they fully translated them, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff that whenever you're able to do stuff like that. Like the stuff that never gets localized, if you're able to do these compilations or collections and stuff and be able to give stuff to us in different regions that never got to experience it before, at least they're diehardists that are able to they really want to play stuff like that, like Bomberman or anything like that, at least they're able to, sink their teeth up into something good right there, though. But yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
one's getting a Switch 2 edition right there, so that's cool stuff. And that was a shadow drop because the digital version came out on that day,
yeah,
and the physical one is coming out a little later.
I played it with our friend Sonic, and I gotta admit, I had fun. I thought it was a fun game.
Wait, how were
Like,
you able to play it with him?
it has game share.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering.
So yeah, it's got game share on it, which is cool, but it also has um it also has up to 4 players, I think, depending on the game. And like they are fun games, and it's a really good collection. It's got tons of gallery art. It's got, you could even look at a 3D model of the original cartridge and open the original box. It has like an unboxing mode where you like look at the original box and unpack everything, read the old instruction booklets. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff in here. It definitely looks like a fun collection for people that are fans of those games. And like, I like myself a good Bomberman once in a while, but it's relatively simple. It's a little repetitive. So it's like I can only play it so much, but I'm definitely gonna play it with him once in a while.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Let me see here. What else did I had up on the list here? There was one thing, and I think this one thing that they managed to showcase off to us, it was genuinely shocking because I honestly was not expecting this whatsoever to be brought up in the show. I'm trying to skip over to the segment wherever they happen to talk about that game. Where is it at? The game that I'm talking about in question was Grandblue Fantasy Relink because
Oh yeah.
apparently with that one, and that one really caught me off guard. I mean, yeah, I could always seen the chance of whenever it could have officially made it over to like Nintendo Switch 2, because I mean that's just the hot console over there in Japan right now. Finally got the footage. They added a whole new DLC expansion thing up on this thing. It's gonna cost $30, but I was expecting like a whole new experience, new additional story, new characters added up on there. Obviously, that's gonna come with more side quests and stuff like that. I had this game originally on the PS5, never finished it because I got caught up with some other games. I was meaning to make my way back around to it, but the fact that they said, "Hey, it's coming to Switch 2," and the DLC already cost you $30. At that point, I could just pay the extra 30 and just have it playable on my other system with the Switch 2, which I played that system more so online, even with the PS5 to begin with, though. I was like, heck freaking yes. So that was like the only thing that was like brand new, caught me off guard, that I certainly wasn't expecting or had on my bingo card list, though. So I'm really looking forward to that. And they did give us the release date for that as well. It's also coming out in the middle of summer. I want to. Did they say June on that sucker, or did they say July?
I
No,
don't know.
July 9th, 2026. So not bad at all on that one though. So that's great. That's great stuff right there. I'm really looking forward to that.
And that is all I care about for the partner showcase. It was, in my opinion, a mediocre showcase.
There was two other things. I'll just quickly mention this.
Yeah.
Because we did manage to get some footage on Indiana Jones, which we got to talk. We got to at least talk about the way how they ended off the partner showcase, because that's the thing that most people, generally speaking, are going to care about. Microsoft came out here with a few different games, and I wasn't expecting them to close out the showcase. Like, I knew they were going to probably have something to bring to the table, though. But the few games in question was like you had Elder Scrolls 6 Oblivion, you had the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and you had Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. All of those are coming out to the Nintendo Switch 2. And out of all of those games, all of them are going to be game key cards, with the exception of being Indiana Jones. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because I was eyeballing the Switch 2 version of that game, and I was like, hey, if I was going to get it, because at first I was about to get it on PC. Then they said it was going to come over to PlayStation. So I was like, I'll get it on PS5. And then it wasn't too far after that, thanks to my backlog and stuff, I never got around to getting it. They said it was coming to the Switch 2. So the fact that they're fitting all that mess onto an actual cartridge, Heck freaking yes. I'm enthusiastic about that though. So that's one game I'm actually going to get from this presentation, along with a handful of other ones that we just already knew about the announcements of though. And then and I don't know, that I guess for most people it kind of rubbed people off the wrong way getting all of those old games from Xbox. Like I guess there weren't games. Some people probably liked it, the fact that we were gonna get some games like that, but then other people were just probably like, whatever though. And I think the only other thing I had on my list was obviously they've been showing the mess out of Resident Evil 9. I mean, they even showed it again in some of the state of play footage and stuff like that. But they actually confirmed what the Amiibo are going to look like, and we're going to get a Leon Amiibo. I think that's pretty cool. So Resident Evil fans, if you want a cheap version of a figurine, shoot, even people that ain't going to get this on Switch 2, they're probably going to pick up that Amiibo. One of him and one of the girl. What's the girl's name, Steven? Grace. Yeah, so we got Amiibo for both of those two coming out though. So not bad stuff right there. Not bad. That's it in terms of my show notes.
Cool. I just think the Leon Amiibo just looks a little weird, but like I think it's cool, obviously, that they're doing it. Capcom once again showing that like them and Nintendo are a little buddy. Resident Evil Requiem on Switch 2 is looking really nice. I think it is 60 FPS.
Yeah, no, it's a solid 60. And some people were looking at that trailer like, oh man, there ain't no like, death, gore, blood, whatever though. But I think it's because of the ratings and stuff, of how they do their presentations and stuff. So it's like every time when they're about to shoot the dude or show blood or whatever though, like they stop a moment before. That's the reason why it looked like that. It looked back to normal, obviously, when you're seeing the trailer again in the state of play. But it was just kind of funny just to note that though. But the game looks good. The game looks good. I imagine it's gonna be fun for all of those out there. Steven, you're getting this game, so we'll hear your thoughts on the pod whenever that game comes out. Literally at the end of this month. Actually, I think by the time we have our next podcast episode, it should be out. Or will it come out in a
sure.
Or will it come out in a day from then?
It will be out by the next podcast episode. So will the Pokemon Presents.
Yeah. No, it will be because the next episode should be on March 1st. So yeah, no, it'll be out. So we'll hear the thoughts then. All right, but outside of that, you said how would you rate this Nintendo Direct, Steven, letter grade wise?
I would rate this partner showcase probably like a fucking C. I don't know. It's okay. It was okay.
If you said C, I kind of give it like a. It's either C plus. No, yeah, C plus. I can't give it.
It at least had a couple things that I was like, yeah, that's cool.
The plus is for Grandblue.
Oh my god,
that's about it.
It was so padded out with random bullshit I don't care about. But like not even. It's not. It looked like random bullshit that I don't even think anyone would care about either. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Either way though, I'm glad Nintendo got all this out of the way, so when they do a real direct, they could just focus on Nintendo related stuff.
Yeah, hopefully, but we will see on that. Hopefully. Oh yeah, I get that shiny new Switch 2 Pro controller though too. That thing looked good. All right, but yeah, that's all the notable stuff out of the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. So now that we got all of that out of the way, it's time to finally talk about, I would say, the major highlight for tonight. That being that state of play. That state of play was something to behold. That arguably might have been the best state of play we ever had, probably in a long old time. Like, you probably had to go back to like year 2 when they started doing these presentations. I think they had like one good one then. But like most of the time I walk away with one, and I walk away from a show and I'm like, I'm only going to get maybe 1 or 2 of these games. And at least the entertainment factor was always usually pretty low. You'd be lucky if you walked away with at least 3 good games. And typically one of them will always be like a first party Sony thing. Maybe something from Insomniac Games like a Spider-Man 2 or something like that. But this one was hitting on all cylinders. This thing was hitting on so many cylinders. I mean, we had to break this thing up in my show notes. I had like the generic stuff for the state of play, and then I had the Konami Direct that we had in the middle of it. So skip that very last. You see the notes over here, Steven. Skip the very last segment of the what we got as those last couple announcements for the state of play.
Yeah.
We'll circle back to that, but we'll talk about most of those all the way up until that one thing. Then we'll jump to the Konami stuff and then make our way back to the way how they ended the show. That we'll handle in that order.
I gotcha.
So they started off first with Kenna Scars of Kosmora. I had the first Kenna game. I guess I wasn't really a big fan of it. I tried it. I really couldn't get into it. But you were popping off, Steven, when we were watching this together.
Yes, I'm excited for this a lot. I really liked it. It kind of gave me big, like, classic, like, GameCube vibes. It just feels like a very, like, traditional, fun game. It's something about it. Like, something about Kenna just really clicked with me when I was playing it. It looks beautiful. People behind it know what they're doing with visuals. It's very nice style to it. Everything with the story was good, and the gameplay is also pretty fun. It was just a game that I really did like, and I wanted more. And here we go. We got a new one. Looks like it's bigger. Looks like it's got more going on. Looks exactly like what you'd want a sequel to be. Bigger and better. Like, it looks like it's a lot more focused on exploration and like a bigger landscape and like this new world that she goes to like solve their problems. It looks like it's gonna be a fun game. I'm glad they opened with it, gave it a bit of a spotlight that in my opinion it deserves.
It looks like the game is going to have like a larger scope than the first one.
Yes.
Because they talked about it in the little interview with the in the show itself, how like Nintendo, or not, I'll say Nintendo, that Sony was giving them a little bit more budget and a little bit more support so they can kind of get the vision of the scope of what this game is supposed to be, at least for the sequel, to be a little grander in scope.
Yeah, something along those lines.
So yeah, I mean,
Which,
visually
you know,
it
I'm
looks
excited.
good. I'm just kind of like, dang, I'm surprised that just didn't click with me though. But it looks good. It looks good. I can appreciate the visual art style and the stuff it's doing from that regard. But yeah, in terms of a release date on this one, I think they just gave a general year. Unfortunately, it wasn't like they had like an actual like strong window frame for this one. Unfortunately, like they literally just said, "Hey, 2026, and it's coming to PS5 and it's coming to PC." So even if you don't have the PS5, you still are able to play it through PC if that's going to be your main forte. All right, so that was it. The way how they started off the show. And honestly, when I was watching this, because I was watching this with you, Steve, and a few other people in our Discord call, I was fully expecting, based on that intro, I knew it wasn't bad, but I was thinking it was just going to be an average show. There wasn't going to be much more beyond it, though. But dang, I was gravely mistaken, though.
And they hit us with Whiplash.
Yeah, they really did though. The next, and we're only gonna talk about like the key highlights, the stuff that we all really cared about. Which there was a lot of good stuff up in here, so we can't talk about everything. But at least the stuff that me and Steven really care about though, because the next one they had up, they brought up a few different first party related stuff though. The one I was really looking forward to was the Ghost of Yotei on the multiplayer experience though, because they gave us a single player campaign obviously last year. They said the multiplayer was going to be coming out in the following year, so I was wondering when they're going to drop that out, if it was going to cost us money or something like that. Thankfully, it's free and it's coming out in March. So I'm like, oh, thank goodness, though. Yeah, so that actually will give me reason to actually fire up the PS5 again and to see exactly how that multiplayer experience will play out, though, because I think you're able to play as like the warrior or almost like a shinobi, and there's like a few different ways how you can go through and play it, though. But yeah, just to be able to interact with all these different people online with the same kind of core mechanics that you're able to do within the single player campaign, I think there's going to be quite a bit of fun to be able to experience with that. So I'm looking forward to getting my teeth synced into that, though. So I ain't got to wait that long on that. It's literally going to be coming out next month. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it looks okay. Like, I don't know anything about these games, but like, it looked cool. It's a free update, you said?
Yeah, free update. So thank
Which
goodness.
is nice, yeah.
Yeah, so that's all I got to say on that. Obviously, I think we had some stuff with Death Stranding updates and stuff like that, yada yada yada, though. But the next notable one, at least for me, was the fact that, let me see if I can find a little thing though. Not for loop. For loop look weird. Yeah, we got another good look at Pragmata, which we know that one's coming out in April as well, though. Obviously, they did the same thing with Resident Evil. You know, yeah, we started getting some like double backs and stuff from like that partner showcase that they literally just did and stuff like that. Yeah, everything else. Shoot, they even giving us like a new control game and stuff like that. Though I think this is like part of the state of play where like things kind of happen to stall out just by a little bit, though. But then the thing that kind of brought it back in a little bit more was when we managed to get, golly, Rayman managed to show his face back up in this present. I was like, what the heck?
Yes.
I was like, Ubisoft remembered that this dude is alive? I thought the man was dead. But
No, he is dead. They're parading around his corpse.
yeah, but it's like a museum thing where it's like, hey, they managed to release obviously it has a collection of different things, has some interviews and stuff with the people that were behind the games that made those original ones and stuff, including giving us a, what was it? Was it a beta or something like that, Steven?
The long lost SNES prototype, which I guess is the first time it's been playable, or at least maybe the first official time it's been released. Either way, getting access to like a really hard to find prototype of a game is cool. Because back when it was the Nintendo PlayStation, they were working on it, I think.
Yeah. So that was cool. I wasn't expecting anything like that, but hey, if you love Rayman, because you ain't getting a new Rayman thing for like the next like 5-6 years, you better go ahead and buy this thing up because that's all they're gonna, Ubisoft is gonna feed you at this point, though. I'm just saying though. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. We get some kind of retro stuff up in there. And gosh dang, I didn't even have it in my show notes though, but I was skimming through the video. Man, they managed to showcase off Mina the Hollower up in this one. I got genuinely excited and then got psyched out because they just said, hey, it's coming out spring of 2026. Still no official release date on that sucker though, but they did manage to say, hey, here's a demo for the PS5 owners if you're wanting to play the demo on that console, because we already had our fun with PC, Xbox, PC, Switch, Xbox. Now it's PlayStation's turn. So yeah, they did have that. Let me
It's
see.
just crazy. It's just crazy to me, honestly, that like that game got like delayed so much. Again, you basically no communication. Like what happened? It was like I don't know. I really hope it does well, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. I'm just going to have to find some kind of time to be able to squeeze that up in like my busy schedule of games that I want to play, because I literally have a game to average almost every month at this point. Some months that might have two, like in the month of May or whatever though, because I think May is going to be like Indiana Jones as well as that 007 game. And speaking of that 007 game, it popped up. It popped its head up somewhere in this presentation. I'm trying to remember exactly where it did. Oh, here we go, right here.
Yeah, it was like in the middle or something.
Yeah,
I
the
don't know.
007 First Light thing. I'm still really excited about this game though, because I love myself a little bit of spy stuff, and the fact that they're taking his story back to like his roots, like how he first got with the agency and stuff. I'm like, hey, and the fact that you're able to do so many different unique scenarios and stuff like this, I'm like, hey, I'm excited through the moon. I think we already knew the release date for this. I mean, originally it was supposed to come out around springish, and it got delayed and got kicked back to like May. But now we still know the month day release. It was just kind of just another good look at the game, essentially, though. I kind of want to play a demo of this thing so badly, though. But yeah, the game looks really good. I'm excited about this, but it ain't like brand new information or anything like that came out of that trailer, though. All right, let's see. What else
Yeah,
do we have up on this list? I think the one last thing before we got to the that Konami direct though was oh shoot. Well, technically, I think it did jump to the Konami direct though, but I'm gonna skip over it
wait,
for
wait, wait.
one moment because
You
I
you
want to.
have the Dead or Alive thing on here?
I did not have Dead or Alive up on here. Was that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, so like it's not really something I necessarily care about, but it's like a pretty like sizable series. Is Dead or Alive is coming back with like a remaster or like updates to the most recent game that was kind of I guess came out a while ago, and they're going back and they're adding new characters and doing this and that to it, which is cool. Especially because this is like a series that I guess hasn't been touched in a while, And then they also did confirm a new game in development. So like I guess Dead or Alive 7. And those games they got like Ninja Gaiden or whatever his name is in them, which I'm sure that interests you. And like they're fighting games, and these games are like known for, or at least one of these games was known for like being overtly like revealing. So like I don't know if the main series is like that, but like it'll be funny if it is in this modern day and age.
Oh yeah,
Like
no, for sure.
we played Soul Calibur on NSO, and I'm like, oh my god, they don't make them like they used to.
Oh no, no. For better or for worse, they can't make them like that no more, Steven. Gonna get everybody out here in
For
trouble.
worse. For worse.
Yeah, read between the lines on that one. But yeah, so outside of that was pretty good for a lot of these announcements and stuff. Actually, let's just go ahead and jump straight up in it. We'll jump into the Konami Direct that they managed to do. It was like towards like I'd say two thirds of the way through the presentation. Then they said, hey, we managed to have some news from our partners over there at Konami. And then I kid you not, Steven, I think it was something about when they're like, we're third party partners and we go out looking for stuff like that. And man, we had to probably pull up the footage. I kid you not, I thought I remember you saying in our little reaction thing, you like, I don't care about whatever they have to be looking around for or something like that. And I had to explain to you, I was like, hey, no, these dudes, they actually go out with third-party companies so that way they can get the stuff over their consoles. I think you said something on the lines of that. And lo and behold, that mess bit you in the butt so bad, man. Because they hit us with that Metal Gear Solid Volume 2 collection. And I was like, oh, yeah, man, we've been waiting on that because we know it was going to be a thing. The fact they said Volume 1. Of course they're going to do a Volume 2. And the key highlight with this one was Metal Gear Solid 4, which has always been stuck on the PS3. So it's like, hey, there was just no other way how you can play that. Obviously, the PS3 is like a crazy console to even try to attempt to emulate. Like, it's not the best system for that mess. So the fact they managed to finally get this game pulled off of that and it's back on modern consoles and stuff, everybody was excited for this one, though. And I had like the Volume 1 collection, so now I'm going to get this one more than likely on the PS5, so that way I can have the whole Metal Gear Solid series, at least the main title numbers. Well, at least 1 through 4. 5 you can already buy on the console or whatever, though. But yeah, I should have access to everything now, though. But that's really cool. It came with this one. It also comes with Peace Walker, along with, I think there's like one other thing or experience on this thing. It's like 3 different things, really. And then obviously you get your behind the scenes and a few different things like that. So that was really nice. I was like, oh man, I perked up a little bit. I was like, oh, this is gonna be one of them kind of state of plays too. And they went back and updated the Volume 1 collection to where it had like higher resolution and stuff like that for a couple of games in that collection as well. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. Because I hadn't gone through and played through a few of those that they were even talking about. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. So yeah, so really great stuff right there. What you got to say on them apples?
It's cool. Like especially with Metal Gear. Like I haven't played the Metal Gear games yet, but like it does look interesting. And like, at least with this collection, what this collection has, the Metal Gear collection has the 4th game, I think like the PSP game, and then some other games like a bonus, right?
Yeah, Peace Walker, and I'm trying to remember the name of the other one.
Yeah, which it's cool because like, I guess the only thing it would be missing is like 5, and then there's the one that everyone memes on, the Rising game. Metal Gear Rising, like Revengeance, I think. So those would be the only ones you're missing. But like, I guess the main point of these was getting all of them onto modern systems, and 5 was like a modern game.
Yeah, and obviously we're never gonna get, and it comes out soon. Like we don't have to wait that long. August 27th. So it's almost in that same window spot of I think when Metal Gear Solid Delta came out last year. It's almost like roughly
it's
around
like
the same window.
It's like exactly the same window.
So yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be nice to add that to the collection. That way I just have all the Metal Gear Solid games conveniently all in one spot. So that's just gonna be really nice to have right there. So yeah, that's how they kicked off the presentation. And but then I was thinking back when they said that show, they were like, "Oh, we got multiple." So I was like, "Multiple?" I was like, what are you talking about multiple over here though? And then they rolled it over into the next thing. Well, they had a little collab thing with like Darwin's Paradox thing, which is kind of similar if you know Metal Gear Solid 3 when they did the stuff with that old monkey or whatever though. Kind of similar stuff like that, but it's its own thing. But the next one they hit us with, I was looking at this and I was like, this art style though. And I was like, wait, and the running around is a 2D Metroid, and I was a 2D Metroidvania. I was like, wait a minute, emphasis on that Vania. I was like, hold up, this is a Castlevania game. And then I started looking at it more. I was like, wait, this is a brand new one. I was like, holy shoot.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not expect them to hit us with a new Castlevania one like this. And it's made by the same people that made Dead Cells 2. And I had Dead Cells, and I liked a little bit that I happened to play from it, though. So I was like, I didn't think they were going to give them, like, the full reins to be able to make another, or actually attempt to make an official Castlevania. Because they had, like, collaborations and stuff with Dead Cells. I remember that stuff, too. That looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, like, holy shoot.
Dead Cells got a whole, like, official Castlevania thing. I think their last big DLC was entirely Castlevania, which was really cool.
Yeah, so the fact that we got a new Castlevania thing, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's truly something right there. I was like, I'm all excited for this one though. I don't know if it'll be a day one purchase for me, but it'll be a day something eventually. It's gonna be called Castlevania Belmont's Curse. It's coming some point in 2026. We just don't know when. So the fact that they said some point makes me think obviously that's gonna be the second half of 2026. No sooner than like June. But I'm glad because I'm already got a stacked window between now and June though. But that's exciting stuff to see right there. So Castlevania, they're like, yeah, we're creeping out of this grave now. And Steven, I would think they'll be done with it at this point though. But they still got more. But was there anything else you want to say on the Castlevania?
Listen, I like the Dead Cells team a lot. The Dead Cells team is great. Okay. So, whatever the Dead Cells team is doing, I will play that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, so that was announcement 2 from the Konami. I'm just calling it Konami Direct or whatever though. But it didn't stop there because obviously, if you had Metal Gear and you had Castlevania, they got to bring out like their third biggest hitter there. And yes, I'm talking about Silent Hill. And obviously, we're off the heels of Silent Hill 2 that are. No, not even 2. Silent Hill, the brand new one that they managed to come out though. We're running off the heels of that, and this was one of those games that they announced within that Silent Hill like direct showcase part, or I'll call it a showcase, whatever though. Where they announced several different Silent Hill projects. Townfall was one of those things, and I remember watching this thing with Santa Q, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll get this. I'll get this." It definitely looked like it was more, back to form and stuff in comparison to like that brand new one in the series that they managed to just recently drop though. So yeah, the game looks cool and stuff. So if you happen to be a big old Silent Hill fan, you got some more stuff to chew off of. But what you got anything on that, Steven?
Not really. Like I don't know much about Silent Hill, but like from our friend Santa Q, like it looks pretty cool. Looks like a Silent Hill game. I'm glad that Konami's like actually making stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm excited that they're still able to do stuff too, because I was like, if they weren't, I've been like that would have been something that they would have let that thing to die or something like that though. But yeah, no, they're keeping the series, they're keeping it alive. They're keeping it alive. So Nintendo, I don't know why I said Nintendo. We got Konami over here with Metal Gear. They came over here with Castlevania. Then they also hit us with a little bit of Silent Hill. Surely enough, at this point, they got to be done with their announcements, though. But heck no. They had one more thing to actually showcase off for us, and it was a wholly entire different thing. And I was trying to figure out exactly what this thing was, and we found out towards the end of the trailer that, hey, it's a brand new series that they got going for like an RPG. And it's called, let me see what this thing was called.
Rev Noir.
Rev Noir. Right? Yeah. And it's interesting because it almost has like that anime-ish style going for it. But with it being an RPG and stuff, I'm kind of curious on this one because, I mean, out of all of those games that they happen to showcase off, This one, it depends on the way how they play out this RPG. If they got like any good substance behind this one, out of the brand new releases is probably the one I'll be most excited to get my hands up on. But it ain't coming out anytime soon. They said it's like roughly just started development on this thing though, so I had to kind of keep my eye and see exactly how this is gonna play out, even if it's gonna be like a good old noteworthy RPG. Because a lot of it was just all CGI. We don't know what the gameplay or anything else is gonna look like beyond that. But the fact that they are trying to do a new series and it's an RPG or stuff like that, and it seems to have like a pretty big scale to it as well, has me pretty excited. Konami, they're not only just trying to bring back old stuff at this point, they're bringing in new stuff to add to the table as well. And I'm like, hey, now that's a Konami I can kind of get my back behind right there. And outside of that, that was it in terms of their Konami Direct in the middle of this state of play, though. But Steven, any words on this one last announcement from them?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Oh, was there any other things you wanted to say about Rev Noir as their last announcement from?
Yeah, so yeah, it was cutting out a bit there, but yeah, I gotcha. It looks okay. Like it kind of gave me like Xenoblade vibes, I guess. Like just a little bit. Is it an original like series? Is it something that already existed?
It's original. Like it's not even anything old based off an old thing or anything like that.
Okay,
it's a new JRPG title.
I gotcha. So then, it looks neat. More JRPGs is nice. Obviously, it looked fun. It's like an action JRPG, kind of like Final Fantasy is now.
Yeah, kind of closer to a 16. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it looks like it's probably gonna be fun. They're doing more unique stuff. Obviously, good.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this one. We'll have to wait and see, and see the next major update for this thing. But the fact that it said it's like just barely going into development makes me think. Obviously, it's not a 2026. I doubt it's a 2027 game. At the earliest, it'll be a 2028 game. So we got a ways to wait on that game though. But overall, great stuff from that Konami Direct. Great stuff. Great stuff. All right, and now we're going to transition back over to like some of the last few announcements that they managed to kind of showcase off within this game. I mean, yeah, they announced a new John Wick game. I know some people might be excited for that or whatever though. And talked about a new marathon game. They talked about some new games coming to PlayStation Plus, like Spider-Man 2, which is kind of funny how long they talked about that game as if like people don't already know what that game already is. It's already a great game. You should already own that game if you have a PS5. But I digress. They also talked about Saros, even though I think Saros is technically already out, if I remember right. No. Gosh, dang. Or no, no, Saros is that game, Steven, that you're saying that you're gonna want to get, and it comes out April.
You keep saying that. You keep thinking that this is a game that I want to get.
It's based on you. It's based on. It's entirely based on the fact that you said something about you like the gameplay of Returnal. And I keep getting that mixed up. I apologize.
This game just looks so fucking generic, though. I don't know, something about this one does not look interesting to me. But you keep saying that, like you keep forgetting. Like I don't know, it doesn't really look all that interesting to me.
Oh gosh. If you buy this game, so help me. I have to correct myself so many different times. Like, oh shoot, man.
I don't know, like fucking maybe eventually if it goes on sale, but this is nowhere near a day one. Not care enough for that.
Oh gosh. All right, but yeah, they had to show this game off again one more time though, because it's coming out here fairly soon though. But then the thing I wanted to talk about is like one of the last few things though was obviously they managed to show us another good look at Marvel Tokon Fighters. And gosh, like this game looks so freaking good, man. Like so good. And I'm like, I just want to. I already played the demo of it or the beta test for it, and I can fully say that this is going to be a really great fighting game, either just to play or just for people to go through and watch. Obviously, they started to showcase off more characters up in here within this one little trailer. Like, obviously, we got another good look at Storm up in here, though. And then they started going through and talking about like a whole bunch of other different like X-Men characters that were coming into the play. Like we saw some action from Wolverine as well, along with a couple other people as well, like Magic and stuff. But yeah, overall, this game keeps looking more and more beautiful by the day. And to top it all off, we did manage to actually get an official release date for this game. It's coming out on August 6th. So now if you look at everything first party wise from PlayStation, what at this point, Steven, April is supposed to be Ceros. You have this game that comes out in like August. And I thought there was one. Oh, and then we know Wolverine's supposed to come out some point this year. But the fact that we have Ceros for April, Marvel Tokon Fighters for August, I'm thinking Wolverine, when it finally comes out, it'll probably be the holiday game. It's probably going to be November. At least you want a little bit of space between all three of these different games, though. But yeah, that's at least Sony's popping out a few more games this year, thankfully. But yeah, any thoughts on this one, Steven?
At least for me, like it looks like a game I might get. Like it looks pretty fun. And like, I like myself a Marvel once in a while, and it looks very nice for the stylization.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks really nice. Keep your eye on that. I know I will get it. I'm pretty much in this boat now. It's like if the Marvel game looks good and there's quality behind it, even though I might not be really good at the game, I just want to get it just to have it in my collection. Though I just like having good, solid Marvel games. Not like that one crazy crappy Avengers game. No, far from that though. But yeah, ain't gotta wait too much longer for that, coming out in the second half of the year in the month of August though. Then you get down to the very ending of the show where Kyle was like, dang, what is going to be that one more thing? One more thing. This showcase was running on, I say showcase, state of play, was running on for a little over an hour. It happened to be like 70 to 75 minutes when it's all said and done, though. But then once we started seeing the red logos and stuff like that, Sanicky started popping off. He's like, that's God of War. It's God of War. They finally doing it, because obviously it was like their big anniversary or whatever, though. And they had the symbol pop up with 1, the symbol pop up with 2. Then they had the symbol pop up with 3. Yes, we're getting a God of War original trilogy remake. Because there's some people out there that kind of like maybe this style of those original God of War first 3 games in comparison to what we got with, the I want to know if you even call it, Steven, like a reimagining though, but the one that was like with Ragnarok, and the one that
like a soft reboot.
Kind of is, but with like slightly different lore or whatever though. And it was kind of cool because they actually had like the original voice actor of Kratos from those 3 games, and he actually kind of gave his little spill on, the hype and anticipation for this, saying he's coming back and returning and stuff. So that's really cool, but they said it was just in development, so then you know what that means. They announced this game probably 2 to 3 to 4, probably 4 years out early in advance. And I'm like, oh gosh, dang. I was like, but I guess they were trying to do it for the sake of the anniversary. And I was like, man. I was like, why in the world are you going to do this? Like, can't companies learn to keep the cards close to their chest and announce titles where it's like, hey, you only do this mess on the extreme side 2 years, but I always prefer the 1 year window cycle, so you don't got to wait for a stupid amount of time. But I guess Sony heard that thought in the back of my mind, though, because the next announcement was something that was a little bit more of a immediate release. But before we talk about that one last thing, Steven, any thoughts on the God of War Remake Trilogy?
So I just recently, like 2 or 3 months ago, played through God of War 1. Really liked it, by the way. I am excited for this.
So
it was a cool announcement.
Is this going to hold you up from playing like 2 and 3, and you're just going to wait, or you're going to actually play the originals and go back and play the remake? Okay.
I'll still play the originals, obviously, but like, this is still like really cool for them to do.
No, yeah, because I mean, at this point, it's like, hey, if you're able to do stuff like that, even if it's like a simple, almost like remake or whatever, though, hey, that's gonna hold people over at least a little bit better than versus trying to do like a brand new God of War game or something like that. That's like beyond Ragnarok with like different established lore or whatever, though, because at least you got the template already set up, so the turntable on this one should be a little bit quicker, all things considering, though. So Yeah, we got some good stuff to look forward to. God of War fans, you got some good stuff. Good stuff. But that wasn't the one and only last announcement right here, because as soon as that voice actor was done talking about this, he was like, "Yeah, I know it's gonna take a while though, but we got one more thing to show." And I was like, "Wait, one more thing?" What is this? There ain't no Nintendo over here though. But that Santa Monica studio thing popped up, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Wait, if they're trying to keep this consistent with God of War," I was like, "Is it a 2D game?" And then I see all the pixel art and stuff popping up in there, and I'm like, and then we see that little shield right there. I was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, they done did it. They made a 2D God of War game." And then Stanicky was really quick to notice, wait a minute, this is like Kratos, obviously when he was a young boy or whatever though. And yeah, it's more like his like origin story to like the original God of War trilogy or whatever though. And I was like, oh, okay. So hey, it'll be something to kind of sink your teeth into, because I mean, since we're actually getting gameplay footage of this game, it's like, oh yeah, this is something that's going to come out in the near distant future. So it's like, hey, you'll be able to chew on this for a little bit of time before obviously we'll get the full blown remake and stuff like that though. And then as we see more and more in the trailers, like, oh wait, that's a lot of footage and stuff like that though. And then they get all the way to the point where it's like, hey, we're starting to look at that release date, and we're like, okay, we're looking at that release date, and it's like, okay, surely it'll probably be a game that might come out some point later this year. And then they obviously managed to pop out that little that year of 2026. And I was like, oh, okay, that's post second half of the year. And then they blow up the 2026. I was like, what the heck? And then they show it today, and I was like, oh gosh, I wasn't expecting a shadow drop like that though.
Yeah,
So yeah, woo.
I did not expect that. It was pretty cool though. I I don't know. I heard I heard people do like this game so far.
Yeah, and I know Santa Q will probably get his hands on it at some point. I mean, it was kind of weird because this game is going to cost about $30, just, and it's like digital only. Like you had to get off the PlayStation Store or whatever though. But $30 only, obviously only playable on PS5 as it stands now. It's not available on PC or anything like that. And that kind of put him off a little bit, because he was thinking, well, for it to be a 2D game, maybe he thought it would have been just a little bit cheaper than that though. But like $30 is like, that's not bad considering everything I'm looking at within this game. Though I've seen other 2D games, like Metroid, whatever, Kosmora, Castlevania, etc. Though, but it's good that at least you saw that people are liking the game so far online, Steven.
At least for me, I like my pixel games. I like my platformers slash. I think it might be a Metroidvania. I don't know. Looks cool though. It's exclusive to PS5 for right now. So there you go. PS5 has, at least for right now, they have one game, one more game.
Yeah, at least one more that's just only available on that, if you include the PC market. So yeah, not a bad way to end the show off. And that's pretty much it for this whole entire state of play. So looking at everything we got now, Steven, all of these crazy announcements that we got just generally in the state of play, and then everything that happened in that like Konami Direct in the middle of the state of play, where would you rate this state of play at letter grade wise?
Genuinely, I'm gonna give it like a B, like a A minus.
A
I think
minus?
it had like decent pacing throughout, and then that Konami stuff and the ending really said it.
I think I give it a B plus, because there was a little bit of a lull within, like, I would say the
I don't like
20%
when they did the
marker to
control
the
demo.
40% marker. Like there was a little bit of a lull right there that lasted a little too long for me, where I was like, what is
Yeah,
this game? Oh, and then you had that, but then there was like some crazy stuff we had up in the middle. I didn't even have it in the show notes, that one chicken game. Like, oh shoot, that was just
yeah.
comedic relief that got us laughing. At least they
It
had
just
some entertainment value up in this mess.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was thoroughly interested even in the games I didn't care about. So yeah, I would say it was an entertaining direct. I'm gonna give it an A minus.
Yeah, so overall, not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And yeah, you give it A minus, I give it a B plus. So we're kind of we're close enough right there. So yeah, for once we'll give the crown to Sony on this one. They had a better show because this one would have been like their general state of play in comparison to like what Nintendo just did, was just purely partners. It wasn't a general Nintendo Direct though. We'll probably get one for Nintendo a little later on, probably around April, May-ish, June at the latest though. But I guess Nintendo just wasn't ready to show off their first party stuff. But hey, Sony was on and swinging and popping on this one though. So props to you, Sony. Props to you. Any last thoughts on that state of play?
Nintendo is gonna have to do something interesting if they really want to beat that. Which I'm not saying like they don't have to beat that. They're not competing, obviously, but like, you know, I'm thoroughly surprised that a Sony thing actually kept me interested, and it didn't even have an half in it.
Yeah, that's saying a lot for you, considering how much you like FNAF. But yeah,
it's good. Oh yeah, and people thought a Sonic game was gonna appear here. Lamau.
that was our good buddy Kyle. He was thinking it was gonna premiere, and I was like,
A lot
bro,
of people
heck
thought
no.
that.
Nah. I'm sorry, but there was just no way. There was just no way. I couldn't have happened. But yeah, all right. Well, that about does it in terms of all the gaming releases, gaming news between a state of play, a Nintendo Direct partner showcase, and Nintendo Direct dedicated Direct with the Tomadachi life, living the dream. All these other gaming news releases, or gaming news in general, game releases with Dragon Quest VII Reimagining, obviously Mario Tennis Fever. We had the stuff with the Superbowl and stuff, and everything else in between. Fiscal report numbers, you name it. We covered it all in roughly about the span of 2 hours, man. I don't know how the heck we pulled that mess off, Steven, but like, my gosh, we kept that show on and rolling and popping, and we managed to get through all the notes tonight, though. So
the good thing the partner showcase wasn't that good.
Yeah, I'm saying that with a little sadness and disgust. All right, Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at StevenJr1231, or you can find me on a collab channel I used to do with some friends called Spaghetti Disco on YouTube.
Now, you say used to do with. Y'all hadn't put out any new videos as of late?
Not recently, no.
Okay. All right. Well, you can check him out there. And that's truly going to do it in terms of my ZardCast episode 118. So if you really like this video and you happen to be watching this on the YouTube side of things, make sure you're going to hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date. All things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. If you happen to be one of my audio only listeners and you happen to be watching this on either places such as either YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Yes, you can listen to me in the car, Amazon Music, you name it. Make sure to go ahead and leave a 5-star review. Just let people know, hey, we're just a couple dudes that just like talking about either pop culture stuff, related stuff, Marvel stuff eventually when we get down to it. I actually managed to watch a couple of episodes of Wonder Man and stuff like that. Little weird start, though, but I'm going to see how that mess catches on. And then gaming news and everything else in between. We just like talking about all things gaming. But yeah, that's really going to do it in terms of this one episode, though. So I hope everybody has a great night and stuff like that. To the other 4 people or 5 people out there that's excited to get their Virtual Boy consoles tomorrow, heck yes. Don't let Steven over here drown on your parade, though. We're going to be excited through the roof. And we're going to play that mess to Kingdom Come. All right, anyway, though, that's going to do it in terms of this podcast episode, though. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, see y'all.